will kill us. We're in the middle of absolutely nowhere, and it's going to get worse.
And the good news?
This is one of the great trade routes of the ancient world. Over the centuries, thousands will have set off from here, and I feel a real sense of privilege to be one of the few Westerners to get the chance to join them. But this part of Ethiopia can also be a dangerous place for outsiders. Just last year, a group of British tourists were kidnapped only a few kilometers from where we're walking. These high-sided canyons make perfect ambush territory for local bandits. So it's comforting to have Afar local militia to look after us, with the standard must-have accessory, the AK-47. But while we keep moving quickly and rather nervously through the canyons, geologist Dougal can't resist taking his time to get a proper look at the rocks.
We've now entered this world which I'm really, really excited about, because we're going down canyons where either side of the canyons I've got just geology exposed 100%.
Whatever the dangers and the hardships, for Dougal, this is what the trip is all about.
Either side of the valley we've got these fantastic sedimentary rocks. And these rocks are sediments that were deposited in marine setting, so they would have essentially been horizontal as they were deposited, and you get a series of rocks over thousands, even millions of years deposited through time. But what we're seeing here is these rocks are now tilted. They've been tilted along massive cracks in the Earth's crust, which are essentially acting as big fault zones, and these things are tilting in, and that's something very, very important in this region.
And Dougal finds evidence that as the land here sinks, it's bringing us closer to the volcanic layer beneath the Earth's crust.
Here we have a crack in the Earth's crust, and here you can see a brown rock is coming up through that crack. Now this brown rock was molten rock before, magma, which is lava when it erupts at the surface and feeds volcanoes. And what we're seeing here is like a freeze-framed plumbing system of a volcano.
As our second day draws to a close, in the heat, it feels like we've covered a huge distance, whereas we've only done 18 kilometers, well short of our target. Day 3 and our first serious test begins. A 30-kilometer hike to the next campsite. And to add to the unrelenting sun and lack of water, we have a new element to overcome. The Gara, the wind of fire, which powers down from the baking sands of Arabia, turning this part of the desert into a vast, superheated wind tunnel.
Today we've got a really hard day because not only have we got to face the fire wind, which apparently is sort of similar to standing in front of a fan-assisted oven with it on full blast all day, but we've also got to make up all the time that we didn't do yesterday. So we've probably got 10 or 12 hours walking today.
If we can keep up an average speed of 3 kilometers per hour, we should reach camp before nightfall. Any one of us could manage that speed in normal conditions, but these conditions are far from normal. By early afternoon, the temperature has hit 46 degrees. Despite our best efforts, all the elements nature has thrown against us have slowed us more than we thought. As the sun goes down, we still have several kilometers to go, so we have no choice but to keep walking into the night to reach our overnight stop.
Well, we're walking through what can only be described as a sort of human-sized hairdryer, and this is the fire wind that we've all been talking about, but obviously it's at night time, so it's a bit cooler. And the reason why we haven't just stopped to camp is because this area is a little bit unsafe. There's no shelter, there's no water provisions, and also there's some rebels in the area.
All we can do is hope our guides know where they're going as we play Follow My Leader in the wind-blown dark. Until we finally make it to camp.
Oh, got all the grit in my face.
Right, we're here.
A full 15 hours after setting off.
I'm just really, really glad I phoned ahead for the penthouse suite. I'm going to look forward to that tonight, I tell you.
You know, all I can feel is this wind and have a sense of the fact that this place is a wide open space. Tomorrow when the sun comes up, I think we'll get a better idea of what we've got left.
We wake up in a place called Hamadella. Officially, it's a village. In fact, it's little more than a bleak military outpost just 15 kilometers from the border with neighboring Eritrea. After a decade of open warfare, they're now enjoying a period of peace. But no one's quite sure how long the fragile truce will last.
That's the border with Eritrea. So this is a very hot political area. There are police and army basically stationed here at all times. We were told very categorically, when you want to go for a wee in the night, don't go that way because you'll be shot.
We're now just 2 hours' walk from our first destination, the salt mines of Dalol. This is the point where we descend into the Danakil Depression itself, to the hottest place on Earth. In the 60s, an American mining company set up a huge industrial operation here to mine potash for fertilizer. The venture lasted 2 years before the unrelenting desert heat forced them to close. But during that time, they recorded an annual temperature record that still stands, an average of 34.4 degrees centigrade, day and night. Unbelievably, where the machines failed, humans succeed. Part of Mukul's mission is to look at how the locals cope with working in such extreme temperatures, so he's devised a little experiment. He's volunteered 2 guinea pigs, Steve and me, to try our hands at mining while he monitors our body heat from the inside.
I'm going to swallow some little radio transmitters that are temperature sensors to see what the temperature is inside us. The capsule is this thing, which is a little radio mic.
Little.
That's a horse pill.
That's a jelly bean.
So it's a radio transmitter?
It's a radio transmitter, and it will tell me what the temperature inside you is.
Do you want this back?
Kate, you need to bring your own back.
When we get to the mine, Mukul hopes to persuade some local miners to swallow identical transmitters, so he can find out if their bodies have some inbuilt adaptation to the heat, or if they've just learnt to put up with it.
Steady on now, Mukul. We've walked just short of 8 kilometres this morning. The temperature now is 41 degrees and it's 10 past 11 in the morning. But the good news is, on the horizon, there are all sorts of extraordinary shapes which can only be camels. So I think we're in striking distance of the mines.
We are speechless as we arrive. It's as though we have walked through a window in time.